Or I would say like the question of top 8.
Or even top 8.
Yeah, you know.
Both. So here they are. David Bauer playing Rug Delver on your right, and Jesse McConaughey, as we know, playing Zoo on your left.
The winner of this match once again will face
Tony Chu.
Tony Chu trying to make his second Legacy Championship in the Star City Games Open Series.
That would be pretty impressive. Both would be going with Stoneblade, but one man will stand in his way, David Bauer or Jesse McConaughey. You know, I'm not going to underestimate Jesse McConaughey again. He pulled that last match out when I didn't think he was going to be able to. He bought a lot of time with his Loam Lions and Curd Apes and finished it off with a flurry of burn. So if you had to bet on somebody here, if you had to pick a winner, who would it be?
Gun to my head?
Gun to your head.
Game 1, I think the edge goes ever so slightly to Jesse McConaughey, something like a 55-45. Game 2-3, I think it swings back to a 60% for David Bauer. And if I go and I look at my awesome match win percentage sheet, that would mean that it's a 62% match for David Bauer.
Huh.
That's assuming that the mind harnesses do as much work as I think they're going to do.
Yeah, one mind harness drawn by David Bauer will change the entire game.
Let's say that it goes from a 55 game 1 to Jesse to a 55 game 2 for David Bauer. That actually puts it to a 57% match in favor of David Bauer.
Wow, this is a crazy color-coded chart you have here.
It's very, very useful to realize the value of games 2 and 3.
Yeah. So, Jesse's on the play. He looks at his opening 7 and finds it acceptable. Says, I will keep. David Bauer checks out his 7. Makes that face. Means he's not too happy with it. Thinking about going back for 6 more, but he keeps. So both players on 7. Jesse starts with an Arid Mesa. David Bauer looks like has 3 lands, Force of Will, Tarmogoyf, Stifle, and Grim Lavamancer. Jesse goes and grabs a Taiga. And hopefully we'll be able to start off strong with a Wild Nakata. The best one drop in the deck.
So good it was banned in Modern.
Yep. So now Jesse deciding what to play on turn 1. Last match we saw him play around Lightning Bolt, or rather play around a removal spell by playing Curd Ape, but this time he just decides on the Nakata.
One thing to note from people that are talking about one of the last matches, someone's complaining that he searched his whole library with a Mind Sensor in play. He didn't search his whole library, he shuffled after a search that failed.
Right. Important distinction. Because you can't just look at the top 4 cards and then put them back. That wouldn't be fair.
So Jesse did not do what you think he did.
Right. So David simply had Tropical Island. Jesse counters with Goblin Guide.
We might see a Force of Will here.
Yep, removing a Stifle. Still has 1 Stifle if he needs it.
What does that do? I'm not sure if I would have shown him the Stifle.
So
Attack.
Goblin Guide goes to the yard.
Attack for 2?
Just 2. Jesse only 1 land.
Says
Luckily
go.
for him, David has no Wasteland. And that's a Delver of Secrets.
The fly!
So David Bauer holding Delver, Stifle, Snapcaster, Tarmogoyf, Grim Lavamancer.
Looks like he's thinking about this Delver.
Yep. The namesake card. I think at this point, I might just play a Tarmogoyf. Hold the ground, play a 3-4. If he wants to attack his McConahie into it and trade a Bolt and a McConahie for it, that's fine. But nope, he opts for the Delver, keeping Stifle mana up, in case Jesse does draw a fetch land.
There it is. Oh, no. No, that is the only natural planes in the deck.
Yep, it is. Immediately pumps McConahie into a 3/3. And Loam Lion comes out for Jesse. And Wild McConahie comes in for 3, putting the life totals at 1916. And tapping out, Not Afraid of Days, Chain Lightning. Probably a good choice. I don't think I'd play around Days there either, especially since he doesn't have it.
Is that a goose? Is the goose loose?
Ooh.
I can't quite tell. Might not have been.
Spell Snare.
Oh, okay.
Not what David wants. Spell Snare not at its best against Jesse.
It's important to note that David Bauer has no basic lands,
right?
Which means that Jesse McConaughey's Path to Exiles are incredibly good.
Yeah, 1 white mana, remove target creature from the game, exile it, period. So David searches up a volcanic island, and I have to imagine now we'll see the Goyf. He needs to stop the bleeding.
And there it is.
Yep, Tarmogoyf.
Goyf, currently sorcery creature land instant, a 4/5.
Wow. So Jesse would love to have a Path to Exile here. David has no Force of Will to protect it. So he says go. Jesse untaps and draws a Tarmogoyf.
Oh boy.
Frustrated by the Tarmogoyf.
Is that a bluff? Here they come. Plink. It eats the McConahie. 2 damage to David Bauer's face.
Dropping him to 13.
A bolt to finish off the Tarmogoyf. David does a think for a moment and then lets it happen.
But no, if he had a Force of Will, he would have forced that. He's not fooling us. Jesse says go, untaps, draws, Brainstorm.
Main phase Brainstorm, the most popular Brainstorm in Legacy.
Yep.
There it is.
Brainstorm. Immediately to the graveyard, David draws 3. Oh, no lands.
Oh.
That's not good. He does have a Ponder
there.
But that will use up the rest of his turn.
Unless he top decks or finds another land.
True. Definitely looking at that Stifle as a card he'd like to put back. Not very effective after Jesse already has 2 lands.
Oh, drops it into his lap. Puts it back.
So crucial juncture for David Bauer. He has to now plan out how he thinks the game's going to go with what cards he doesn't need.
Yeah, I know one of our followers on Twitter, Shane Walczek, says that he doesn't like seeing a die on Tarmogoyf. I completely agree with you. I don't like seeing dies on Tarmogoyfs either. It's acceptable to use those kind of markers to tell what the power and toughness is, but the thing about not putting a die on it, not putting a die means your opponent can mess up.
Right.
Now, on the other hand, if you think that you might mess up...
By all means.
Well...
So, Grim Lavamancer is deployed over Ponder, and Jesse draws a fetch land.
Not going to be stifled.
Nope. The window is now open for Jesse to use that fetch land without it getting stifled, and he will, dropping to 18. And that Grim Lavamancer doesn't actually do that much against Loam Lion. The 2/3 from World Wake, immune.
There's only one Grim Lavamancer in David Bauer's deck. Ooh, Goblin Guide. Now, Jesse should realize that there is no land on top of David Bauer's deck, so there's no need to worry about attacking with the Goblin Guide. So both these guys should come on in. David Bauer tapping the table with Force of Will.
The second Force of Will Goblin Guide this game.
I guess he just doesn't want Jesse to know what's on top of his library.
Thinking about what to remove here.
Snapcaster, maybe?
Or Spell Snare. He's not sure.
Spell Snare is a good anti-Tarmogoyf card. Bye-bye Spell Snare. He keeps the Tarmogoyf, or so the Snapcaster.
Yep.
And Goblin Guy goes to the yard. In for 2. That Taiga being tapped means that there's no way for him to cast the Tarmogoyf in his hand.
Now, a little bit of a mistap, but oh, there we go. Looks like he was planning
bolt.
on Lightning Bolting anyway. I probably would have cast the Tarmogoyf, as that Grim Lavamancer couldn't really kill any of Jesse's creatures anyway.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a Tarmogoyf in play, just to match up against that Tarmogoyf.
Right. So now Jesse draws Wooded Foothills.
David's life is incredibly low at this point, though.
It is. If that Loam Line attacked, David would have to block.
Oh, maybe he'll tap the other way around now. Tarmogoyf?
Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf v. Tarmogoyf.
And now this game swings heavily into David Bauer's favor, as he has a Ponder and a Snapcaster left over while Jesse is out of cards.
There's a Stifle. Not so exciting exactly right now.
No.
I mean, it could kill that Wooded Foothills, but that's not really great right now.
No, unless he finds a Wasteland to both stifle the Wooded Foothills and knock out the Taiga, Stifle's not going to do much.
I like tapping the Volcanic Island here in case you get a Nimble Mongoose.
Yeah, Nimble Mongoose much more likely to be cast than Bolt right now.
There's another Stifle, it looks like.
Stifle, Brainstorm,
2 cards.
And that could be a Spell Snare. I think he'll shuffle these away. With no shuffle effect in sight, yeah, he has to get rid of those. Brainstorm is good and all, but when 2 bad cards come with it, well, it sort of defeats the purpose. David shuffles the deck. Jesse cuts 1 card to the bottom. And David draws a Scalding Tarn. Sitting on Stifle and Snapcaster. Now, as soon as Jesse draws a path, the way is going to be open for him to crash in with his creatures. So there's the die for Tarmogoyf. So Jesse with 1 freshly drawn card, not sure what it is yet. Ooh, looks like that might be a Curd Ape. Maybe he's thinking about attacking with both of his creatures now. If he does, David will sort of be in a tough spot. If he blocks the Tarmogoyf, the board state isn't advanced and he takes 2, but if he blocks the Loam Lion, he drops to 4. Which is a pretty dangerous life total when he'll have to use that Scalding Tarn at some point.
I like attacking here. With a life total that low, I like attacking.
Yeah, me too.
Particularly because his opponent doesn't know whether there's a Bolt in his hand.
Right. 1 freshly drawn card, but if it's a Bolt, he's almost dead, assuming he blocks the Loam Lion.
And just for all of you who are wondering out there, we are bringing this to you in high def. We know that the playing area is a little bit muddled to see. With the high def equipment being so new, we're still learning what we need to do to make the images as clear as possible. So expect by Los Angeles, it should be better. And by the event after that, it should be better yet.
Yep. So David Bauer's line here is going to be cast Snapcaster, do nothing with it, double block Tarmogoyf. Which is going to be very bad for Jesse. He'll have a Loam Lion versus a Tarmogoyf. And if Jesse drew a Bolt, this will end very well for him.
It'll end okay for him.
Well, yeah. Tarmogoyf trades for Snapcaster.
2 damage, knocking David Bauer to 5.
Yep. And there's that 2-mana Ambush Viper. The blue Ambush Viper.
And there's the formerly banned Curd Ape. I believe that's the kind of Curd Ape that was banned back in the day.
It was.
It looks like it's old enough.
So now David Bauer, even though he has a Tarmogoyf versus 2 mere 2/3s, he can't attack because he's only at 5 life.
says go. Jesse, I think, is going to say go the way that he dropped that card back under the table.
Right. Has no good attack.
If he's got a bolt, his good attack is attack, lose a guy, bolt for the win.
Right. Now, we know David Bauer has Force of Will and another blue card, but Jesse doesn't.
I think, well, here we go. Let's see what happens.
And Crit Ape down. David Bauer falls to 3.
Bolt you? Nope.
Oh, nope, just go.
And still David Bauer is not in a position to attack.
Right. Trades a Crit Ape for 2 damage. David Bauer has a lot of bad draws right now. He's drawn a Daze and a Stifle. And those won't really do it. So another fetch land enters play, and Jesse says go. David Bauer drawing a fetch land, not what he needs. He can't afford to draw blanks for too many more turns. Jesse has 12 burn spells in his deck, along with 3 Grim Lavamancer. And Jesse says, Chain Lightning you?
Does it work?
Nope.
Force of Will is going to be used to answer this threat.
Just making sure that he can't counter that by paying 2 red. Nope, it forks it instead. I would remove the Daze here, I think. There we go.
There you go.
Remove
now
Daze.
Jesse knows that there are 2... there's a blue card left in David's hand.
Yep. And Chain Lightning goes to the graveyard, and Jesse says go, trying a Tropical Island. Wow. Ooh, another Loam Lion. David Bauer at 2 life. Ooh, Nimble Mongoose.
The goose is loose.
So 1 good draw from Jesse meets another good draw from David, and we're again at parity. Jesse draws the card for his turn, and it looks like one-ups David once again. Wild McConahie.
One last draw.
Oh, Stifle. I think that might be all 4 Stifles for David, and they don't do anything
Can you
past
imagine
turn
if he
1
had
or
drawn
2.
a Brainstorm? That would have been amazing.
Ooh, would.
And here they come. Got anything for me? Nope.
Nope. Jesse McConahie 1 game closer to being our finalist.
Now, for those of you who are just joining us, this is the Star City Games Live Open Series here in Atlanta. I'm Adrian Sullivan, joined by Zach Hall. We just watched the first game of this semifinals match, which means we're actually going to come back to you all with a little game for you to play.
Yeah.
So, what will they win if they win the trivia question that I am going to present to them very shortly?
Well, what's basically going to happen is Adrian's going to ask you a question, and if you reply on Twitter with the hashtag SCGPremium and the right answer, as long as it's before the match is over, and we select you, you're going to win 6 months of free Star City Games Premium.
Okay.
6 months free if you get the question right.
So in the match we were just watching, Jesse McConahie playing a very traditional Zood list versus David Bauer playing essentially a Rug Delver list.
Right.
Harkening back to the old days with Nimble Mongoose.
Yeah, a card which is pretty good against Jesse.
One of the best removal spells that Jesse has for this matchup is Path to Exile. The question that you need to answer by putting the hashtag SCGPremium on your answer, 1 lucky person who answers correctly will win 6 free months of premium.
6 free months.
What land will David Bauer get when Path to Exile hits his creatures?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Very tricky question.
Yeah. So make sure you check out those top 8 lists and let us know.
Yeah. Remember, the question, you have to have the hashtag SCGPremium. You can put whatever other hashtags you want, but if you don't have that hashtag SCGPremium, we're not going to see it.
Disqualified.
Yep. The question, once again, what land will David Bauer get when Path to Exile hits his good creature? Whatever that good creature might be.
Right.
going back to the match we were talking about before, David Bauer is definitely going to bring in 3 Mind Harness.
Of course.
Will he bring in any other cards? Red Elemental Blast, does that make the cut?
I don't think Jesse has any blue spells. Not a one.
I didn't mean to say Red Elemental Blast. I was thinking Blue Blast, and it does not have a Blue Blast on the board.
No.
Just Red Elemental Blast. My apologies.
So
Blue and red, they're so similar.
No Spell Pierce either.
So I think we're just going to see the 3 Mind Harness.
Yeah.
Spell Pierce is probably not going to make the cut. And if that Tormod script, if that was a relic of Progenitus, I would say he would bring it in.
Probably.
But it's not. It's a Tormod script.
Yep.
I don't think he'd bring that in.
Surgical Extraction, equally unimpressive. 2 lives of liability, and the extraction effect just doesn't really do a lot versus a Zoo deck.
On the other hand, we both think 2 Price of Progress and an Umezawa's Jite are going to make the cut. Does Pyroblast make the cut?
Well, traditionally, you side Pyroblast in against almost any blue deck, and I don't think this is any exception. The majority of David's spells are blue. Hitting a Cantrip is fine. Hitting a Force of Will is excellent. Hitting a Delver of Secrets is excellent. And even if it counters something like a Ponder, yeah, that's still fine.
I think that it's okay to bring in some Pyroblast, but I wouldn't be excited to bring in them, and I'd be like okay with bringing them in.
Right.
Now, you and I disagree about Sylvan. I think that he'll bring in Sylvan because I think he's going to be the more aggressive party, and this is going to be a grinding match. And as we saw there, I mean, having a Sylvan at any point there, I think he would have just gone over the top almost immediately.
You know, I'm beginning to agree with you after seeing that game, after Jesse ended the game at a comfortable 18 life.
Umezawa's Jite, I think, is another card to bring in, simply because these creatures that we have facing each other down are pretty similar. They're either kind of small or they're Tarmogoyfs.
Right.
And an Umezawa's Jite can really win in a fight like that.